27 million Americans are about to lose power. In the next 72 hours, a catastrophic ice storm will shut down 14 states. Your freezer will stop working, your phone will die, and if you are not prepared right now, you could be trapped in your home for over a week without electricity. This is not a drill. This is happening this weekend. Right now, at this very moment, the most dangerous winter storm in a decade is forming over the central United States. And by Saturday morning, it will unleash devastation across half of America. We are talking about ice accumulation so severe that meteorologists are calling it historic. We are talking about snowfall totals that cities have not seen in 10 years. We are talking about a storm that will cripple infrastructure from Texas to Maine. But here is what nobody else is telling you. This storm has two kill zones. Two specific regions where the ice will be so thick, so heavy, that entire power grids will collapse. If you live in one of these zones and you have not started preparing, you are already behind. Keep watching because in exactly 30 seconds, I am going to reveal which states are in the direct path and what you need to do right now to survive. Here is your reward for staying with me. The two catastrophic ice zones are northern Louisiana, southern Arkansas, northern Mississippi, and western Tennessee. That is Zone 1. Zone 2 is northeast Georgia, northwest South Carolina, all of North Carolina, and southeastern Virginia. If you live in these areas, listen carefully. You are about to experience ice accumulation of 3/4 of an inch to over 1 full inch. That is enough ice to snap power lines like toothpicks. That is enough ice to bring down trees onto homes. That is enough ice to leave you in the dark for 7 to 14 days. The National Blend of Models, which is supposed to give us conservative forecasts, is showing ice totals that meteorologists rarely see in their entire careers. Near the Mississippi River, we are looking at close to 1 full inch of ice accretion. In Tupelo, Mississippi, 3/4 of an inch. Around Nashville, Tennessee, over 1/2 an inch. These are not exaggerations. These are the actual numbers from the most reliable forecasting systems in the world. But the ice is only part of the story. This storm is also going to drop massive amounts of snow across the country, and not just a few inches. We are talking about snowfall measured in feet in some locations. Cities that have not seen significant snow in years are about to get buried. And the Northeast, particularly cities like Washington, D.C., Philadelphia, New York, and Boston, could see the biggest snowstorm in a decade. Let me break down exactly what is going to happen state by state, hour by hour. And I need you to comment below right now with where you live so I can give you a personalized forecast for your exact location. Drop your city and state in the comments. I will be reading every single one and responding with what you need to know. Let's start with Texas. Dallas is going to see this storm begin as cold rain on Friday night. But do not let that fool you. Within hours, that rain will transition to freezing rain. The entire northern part of the state, including areas around Amarillo and the Panhandle, is looking at 7 to 9 inches of snow. Some spots could see over a foot. This is the kind of snow that shuts down highways. This is the kind of snow that collapses roofs. This is the kind of snow that kills people who are not prepared. Oklahoma is next. Oklahoma City is sitting right in the bullseye for heavy snow. We are talking 8 to 10 inches, possibly more. Tulsa could see 6 to 9 inches. But here's the twist. Just south of Oklahoma City, the precipitation changes to ice. That sharp cutoff between snow and ice is going to determine who loses power and who does not. If you are on the south side of that line, you are in the ice zone. If you are on the north side, you are in the snow zone. Right now, that line is moving. It could shift 20 miles north or south in the next 24 hours. That is why you need to keep watching. Kansas is going to get hammered. Wichita is a lock for at least 8 inches of snow. Kansas City might see 3 to 6 inches, but if this storm shifts slightly north, we are talking 8 inches or more. The entire state is going to be under a blanket of heavy, wet snow that makes travel impossible. Missouri is looking at some of the highest snow totals in the country. St. Louis could see anywhere from 3 inches to 8 inches depending on the exact track. But cities like Jackson and Springfield are locks for 10 inches of snow. These are totals that paralyze cities. These are totals that leave people stranded on highways overnight. Now let's talk about Arkansas. Little Rock is in a particularly dangerous situation. This city could see 2 to 4 inches of snow, plus 2 to 4 inches of sleet, plus 1/4 inch of ice on top of everything. That combination is worse than a foot of snow. It is harder to clear, it is more dangerous to drive on, and it knocks out power faster than anything else. Louisiana, you are in the danger zone. Northern Louisiana is one of the two catastrophic ice zones I mentioned earlier. If you live anywhere near Shreveport or Monroe, you need to finalize your preparations today. We are talking about 12 hours or more of continuous freezing rain. That is enough time to accumulate devastating amounts of ice. Power lines will snap, trees will fall, roads will become skating rinks, and emergency services will not be able to reach you. Mississippi is facing the same situation. Northern Mississippi, particularly around Tupelo, is looking at 3/4 of an inch of ice. Southern portions of the state will see less, but the northern tier is going to be catastrophic. If you have a generator, get it ready now. If you do not have a generator, find someone who does and make plans to stay with them. Tennessee is split right down the middle. Western Tennessee is in the ice zone. Memphis could see a messy mix of snow, sleet, and ice. Nashville is right on the edge. The south side of Nashville might only get 1 inch of snow. The north side could get 3 to 4 inches. Clarksville could get 5 inches. Bowling Green could get 7 inches. That is how sharp the cutoff is going to be. And here is the problem. That line could move. So if you live anywhere in Middle Tennessee, you need to prepare for both scenarios. Prepare for ice and prepare for snow. But here is where it gets interesting, and this is the part you need to hear at the 5-minute mark like I promised. Eastern Tennessee was supposed to get 2 feet of snow according to early models. But those forecasts have completely changed. The warm air is going to push farther west than expected, which means instead of snow, many areas will see rain or a mix. This is why you cannot trust long-range forecasts. This is why you need to keep watching updates every single hour. Weather models are predictions. They are not guarantees. And this storm has already proven that it can shift dramatically. Kentucky is going to see significant snow. Lexington is looking at close to a foot. Louisville, same thing. Bowling Green, possibly more. But Pikeville and the eastern part of the state are right on that warm nose cutoff line. This area might only see 5 to 7 inches instead of the 10 inches originally forecasted. Every 20 miles makes a huge difference with this storm. Indiana is locked in for heavy snow. Indianapolis is looking at 6 to 9 inches. Evansville could see similar totals. This is going to be a major snow event for the entire state. Schools will be closed, businesses will shut down, and if you do not have food and supplies at home, you are going to be stuck. Ohio is another big snow zone. Cincinnati, Columbus, and Dayton are all looking at close to 10 inches. Cleveland might see 6 to 8 inches. The entire state is going to be buried. And this is the kind of heavy, wet snow that sticks to power lines and causes outages even without ice. Now let us talk about the Carolinas, because this is the second catastrophic ice zone. North Carolina is about to experience a prolific ice storm. The entire state, from the mountains to the Piedmont, is in the danger zone. Charlotte, Raleigh, Durham, Greensboro, all looking at over half an inch of ice. The Appalachian foothills are going to see trees and power lines come crashing down. This is the kind of ice storm that makes national news. This is the kind of ice storm that FEMA responds to. South Carolina is in the same boat. The northwestern part of the state, including areas around Greenville and Spartanburg, is looking at major ice accumulation. Power outages are going to be widespread, and they are going to last for days, possibly weeks. Georgia is not escaping either. Northeast Georgia is in the ice zone. Athens, Gainesville, and areas north of Atlanta are all looking at significant icing. Atlanta itself might dodge the worst of it, but the northern suburbs are going to get hit hard. Virginia is split. The southeastern part of the state, particularly areas around Richmond and south of Washington, D.C., is in the ice zone. Northern Virginia might see more snow than ice, but it is going to be a close call. And as I mentioned earlier, this is one of the hardest regions in the entire country to forecast because of all the competing weather factors. West Virginia is looking at heavy snow. Charleston could see 8 to 10 inches. Morgantown might see even more. The mountainous terrain is going to make travel extremely dangerous. Maryland is another tough forecast. Baltimore is right on that line between heavy snow and a wintry mix. If the cold air holds, we are talking about a foot of snow. If it does not, we are talking about ice and sleet. Hagerstown and Frederick are locks for over a foot of snow. Washington, D.C. is the ultimate wild card. This city could see anywhere from 6 inches to 15 inches depending on exactly where that warm air sets up. Right now, the models are leaning towards significant snow. If this forecast holds, it will be the biggest snowstorm in D.C. in a decade. But if that warm air pushes farther north, it could cut totals in half. Pennsylvania is going to get buried. Harrisburg, Allentown, Scranton, all looking at over a foot of snow. Philadelphia is tricky because of its proximity to the coast, but right now it is looking like 8 to 12 inches. Pittsburgh on the western side of the state could see 8 to 10 inches as well. New Jersey is similar to Philadelphia. Northern New Jersey could see over a foot. Southern New Jersey might see less depending on coastal influences, but this is going to be a significant snow event for the entire state. New York is locked in for heavy snow. New York City is looking at 8 to 12 inches if the cold air holds. Upstate New York, including Albany and Syracuse, could see over a foot. Buffalo might see 6 to 10 inches. This is a blockbuster snowstorm for the entire state. Connecticut is looking at significant snow. Hartford could see over a foot. New Haven might see slightly less because of coastal effects, but we are still talking about 8 to 12 inches. Rhode Island and Massachusetts are both in the heavy snow zone. Providence could see 10 to 15 inches. Boston is looking at the same. Plymouth, Cape Cod, and the islands might see slightly less, but this is still going to be a major winter storm. If this forecast holds, it will be the biggest snowstorm in Boston in a decade. Vermont, New Hampshire, and Maine are all going to see heavy snow. These states are built for winter weather, but this storm is going to test their limits. Burlington could see 12 to 18 inches. Manchester and Concord could see similar totals. Portland, Maine might see 10 to 15 inches. The interior mountains could see over 2 feet in some spots. Now let's talk about states that are on the edge of this system. Illinois is going to see some snow, particularly in the southern part of the state. Chicago might only see a few inches, but areas around Springfield and Bloomington could see 6 to 8 inches. Michigan is going to be on the northern edge. Detroit might see 3 to 6 inches. Grand Rapids could see similar totals. But the real action is going to be south and east of Michigan. Wisconsin and Minnesota are going to mostly miss this storm. A few inches of snow are possible in southern Wisconsin, but the bulk of the storm is staying south. Iowa is right on the edge. Des Moines might see 3 to 6 inches. Davenport and the eastern part of the state could see more. Nebraska and South Dakota are on the western fringe. Omaha might see a few inches. Rapid City could see some snow, but nothing like what the central and eastern states are going to experience. North Dakota and Montana are going to miss this storm entirely. The action is all to the south and east. Florida, Alabama, and the deep south are going to see rain, but no winter weather. However, if you live in northern Alabama or the Florida Panhandle, keep an eye on temperatures because if it gets cold enough, you could see some sleet or freezing rain mix in. Delaware is going to see significant snow. Wilmington is looking at 8 to 12 inches depending on the exact track. Now, here is what you need to do right now. If you live in any of the ice zones I mentioned, you need to assume you are going to lose power. That means you need backup heating sources. That means you need food that does not require cooking. That means you need water stored up. That means you need batteries, flashlights, and a way to charge your phone. If you have a generator, test it today. Make sure it works. Make sure you have fuel. If you live in the heavy snow zones, you need to make sure your car is ready. Do you have a full tank of gas? Do you have a snow shovel in your trunk? Do you have blankets and emergency supplies in case you get stranded? These are not optional preparations. These are life and death decisions. And here is something most people are not thinking about. Your neighbors. Check on your elderly neighbors. Check on people who live alone. Check on people who might not have the resources to prepare. This storm is going to hit everyone, but it is going to hit vulnerable populations the hardest. The storm begins late Friday night in Texas and Oklahoma. By Saturday morning, it will be in full swing across the South. By Saturday evening, it moves into Kentucky, Tennessee, and the Ohio Valley. By Sunday morning, the ice storm intensifies across the Carolinas and Virginia. By Sunday afternoon and evening, the heavy snow reaches the northeast, and by Monday night, it finally moves offshore. That is 72 hours of continuous winter weather impacting half of the country. That is 72 hours where emergency services are going to be stretched to their limits. That is 72 hours where you need to be self-sufficient. Comment below right now with where you live. Tell me your city and state. I will personally respond with the latest forecast for your area. This is not the time to guess. This is not the time to hope for the best. This is the time to know exactly what is coming and prepare accordingly. And here is what is coming next. Tomorrow, I am going to release the final forecast map. I am going to lock in the exact snow totals for every major city. I am going to show you where that ice line is going to set up, and I am going to walk you through hour by hour what to expect in your area. You do not want to miss that video because that is when we go from predictions to certainty, but that is not all. At minute 3 and 20 seconds of tomorrow's video, I am going to reveal the single most dangerous hour of this entire storm, the 1 hour where the most power outages will occur, the 1 hour where the most accidents will happen, the 1 hour where you absolutely need to be inside and off the roads. If you miss that information, you could be putting yourself in serious danger. This storm is not a joke. This storm is not hype. This storm is real, it is happening, and it is going to impact millions of people. The question is, are you going to be one of the people who prepared, or are you going to be one of the people wishing they had? The European model has been the most accurate for this storm so far, and it is showing that this system has 2 distinct waves of heavy precipitation. The first wave brings the snow and ice to the south and Midwest. The second wave intensifies the ice storm in the Carolinas and brings the heavy snow to the Northeast. Both waves are going to be dangerous. Both waves are going to cause problems, and here is the scariest part. Some areas are going to get hit by both waves. Northern Arkansas, for example, is going to see heavy snow from wave 1, then get slammed with ice from wave 2. Parts of Virginia are going to see ice first, then heavy snow on top of it. These are the areas where the impacts are going to be the worst. Power companies are already positioning crews. They know what is coming. They are bringing in workers from other states. They are staging equipment. But even with all of that preparation, they are not going to be able to keep up with the demand. There are simply going to be too many outages happening too quickly. And let's talk about trees. When you get ice accumulation over half an inch, trees start to break. Branches snap under the weight. Entire trees come down. And when those trees fall, they take power lines with them. In hilly areas, like the Appalachian foothills, this is going to be even worse. Trees on slopes are going to roll down hillsides, taking out everything in their path. Roads are going to be impassable. Not just because of snow, but because of downed trees and power lines. Emergency vehicles are not going to be able to get through. If you have a medical emergency during this storm, you might not be able to get help. That is why if you have medications you need to make sure you have enough to last at least a week. Schools are already announcing closures, businesses are telling employees to work from home, airports are canceling flights. The entire country is preparing for this storm. The only question is, are you? Now let me address something important. Some of you are going to look outside tomorrow morning and see sunshine. You are going to think this storm is not coming. You are going to think it is all hype. Do not make that mistake. The storm does not arrive until Friday night at the earliest. For some of you, it does not arrive until Saturday or Sunday, but when it arrives, it is going to hit hard and fast. And here is another thing. Some of you live in areas where the forecast has changed. Maybe earlier this week you were expecting 2 feet of snow, and now you are only expecting a few inches. I understand that is frustrating. I understand you might feel like the forecasts are not reliable. But here is the truth. We are dealing with a storm that is still 500 miles away and 36 hours out. Small changes in the atmosphere can cause big changes in the forecast. That is not incompetence. That is meteorology. But the good news is we are getting closer to the event, and the forecast is becoming more locked in. By tomorrow, we are going to have a very clear picture of exactly what is going to happen and where. That is why you need to keep watching updates. Let me give you some specific city forecasts based on the latest models. These numbers could still change slightly, but this is the best information we have right now. Amarillo, Texas, 7 to 10 inches of snow. Lubbock, Texas, 6 to 9 inches. Dallas, Texas starts as rain, transitions to freezing rain, minimal snow accumulation, but dangerous ice. Fort Worth, same situation as Dallas. Houston, cold rain only, no winter weather. San Antonio, cold rain only. Oklahoma City, Oklahoma, 8 to 12 inches of snow. Tulsa, 6 to 9 inches. Norman, 10 to 12 inches. Lawton, on the edge of the ice zone, could see mixed precipitation. Wichita, Kansas, 8 to 10 inches of snow. Topeka, 6 to 9 inches. Kansas City, 3 to 8 inches depending on exact track. Springfield, Missouri, 10 to 12 inches of snow. Kansas City, Missouri, 3 to 8 inches. St. Louis, 3 to 8 inches depending on track. Columbia, 8 to 10 inches. Joplin, 6 to 9 inches. Little Rock, Arkansas, 2 to 4 inches of snow. 2 to 4 inches of sleet. 1/4 inch of ice. Dangerous mixed precipitation event. Fort Smith, similar to Little Rock. Jonesboro, heavier snow, 6 to 8 inches possible. Shreveport, Louisiana, this is catastrophic ice zone number 1. 1/2 inch to 1 inch of ice accumulation. Expect widespread, long-duration power outages. Monroe, same situation. Baton Rouge, cold rain. New Orleans, cold rain. Jackson, Mississippi, 4 to 6 inches of snow plus ice. Tupelo, catastrophic ice, 3/4 of an inch accumulation. Biloxi and Gulfport, cold rain only. Memphis, Tennessee, messy mix of snow, sleet, and ice. 2 to 4 inches total accumulation. Nashville, 1 to 4 inches of snow depending on exact warm line position. Knoxville, mostly rain with some snow mix. Clarksville, 5 to 7 inches of snow. Chattanooga, rain changing to snow, 2 to 4 inches. Lexington, Kentucky, 10 to 12 inches of snow. Louisville, 10 to 12 inches. Bowling Green, 8 to 10 inches. Paducah, 6 to 8 inches with some ice mixing in. Indianapolis, Indiana, 6 to 9 inches of snow. Fort Wayne, 7 to 10 inches. Evansville, 6 to 8 inches. South Bend, 8 to 10 inches. Cincinnati, Ohio, 10 to 12 inches of snow. Columbus, 9 to 11 inches. Cleveland, 6 to 8 inches. Dayton, 9 to 11 inches. Toledo, 5 to 7 inches. Akron, 7 to 9 inches. Charleston, West Virginia, 8 to 10 inches of snow. Huntington, 7 to 9 inches. Morgantown, 10 to 12 inches. Charlotte, North Carolina, catastrophic ice zone number 2, 1/2 inch to 3/4 inch of ice. Raleigh, major ice storm, over 1/2 inch accumulation. Durham, same as Raleigh. Greensboro, major ice storm. Asheville, snow changing to ice, 6 to 8 inches of snow plus ice. Wilmington, cold rain changing to mix. Columbia, South Carolina, ice storm, 1/4 to 1/2 inch accumulation. Greenville, catastrophic ice, 1/2 inch to 3/4 inch. Charleston, cold rain. Atlanta, Georgia, cold rain changing to possible ice on north side. Athens, ice storm, 1/4 to 1/2 inch. Savannah, cold rain only. Richmond, Virginia, 6 to 9 inches of snow with some ice. Norfolk, 3 to 6 inches with ice. Roanoke, 8 to 10 inches with ice. Charlottesville, 8 to 10 inches. Washington, D.C., 8 to 15 inches of snow. This is going to be the biggest snowstorm in a decade if the cold air holds. Baltimore, 8 to 14 inches. Hagerstown, 12 to 16 inches. Frederick, 12 to 16 inches. Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, 8 to 12 inches of snow. Pittsburgh, 8 to 10 inches. Harrisburg, 12 to 15 inches. Allentown, 12 to 15 inches. Scranton, 14 to 18 inches. Erie, 6 to 8 inches. Wilmington, Delaware, 8 to 12 inches of snow. Trenton, New Jersey, 10 to 14 inches of snow. Newark, 9 to 13 inches. Atlantic City, 6 to 10 inches. New York City, 8 to 12 inches of snow if cold air holds, possibly more. Albany, 12 to 16 inches. Syracuse, 14 to 18 inches. Buffalo, 6 to 10 inches. Rochester, 8 to 12 inches. Hartford, Connecticut, 12 to 16 inches of snow. New Haven, 10 to 14 inches. Bridgeport, 10 to 14 inches. Providence, Rhode Island, 10 to 15 inches of snow. Boston, Massachusetts, 10 to 15 inches. Worcester, 12 to 16 inches. Springfield, 12 to 16 inches. Plymouth, 8 to 12 inches. Burlington, Vermont, 12 to 18 inches of snow. Montpelier, 14 to 18 inches. Manchester, New Hampshire, 12 to 16 inches of snow. Concord, 12 to 16 inches. Portsmouth, 10 to 14 inches. Portland, Maine, 10 to 15 inches of snow. Bangor, 12 to 16 inches. Augusta, 12 to 16 inches. These are the best numbers we have right now. But remember, these can still shift. A 20-mile change in the storm track can mean the difference between 6 inches and 12 inches. That is why you need to stay updated. Drop a comment below with your location. Tell me where you are. I will personally respond with the latest information for your area, and make sure you watch tomorrow's video where I lock in the final forecast and reveal the most dangerous hour of the storm. You do not want to miss it. This is the biggest winter storm in years.